Once we have our points and our polygons in, we want to generate the surface from the points. But before we do that, what I want to do is go to the environments. So I right-click on the Arc Toolbox word, and I go to Environments. I want to set up the raster analysis mask. So I want to mask the analysis with the edge of the boundary of the polygon that we drew. A couple other things you might want to do in the environment setting is set up the parallel processing to take advantage of all the core processors that you have on your machine. So 100% will take care of all 4 or 8 cores depending on which machine you're using on campus or at home or whatever. Also, the processing extent left at default should work fine. Okay, we'll see the effects of this when we run the spatial analyst tools and interpolation. We use the spline, and we'll set our import points. One thing that we must do before we add these points is if we've displayed them by the tabular data, they're just going to be events in the map, and those won't interpolate. We have to export those points out as a shapefile. So this layer that I see out here is indeed a shapefile rather than the events in the map. Make sure your elevation is set to the right field, and my output raster is going to the correct output. So I'll name the surface 01 or something. And okay. After it runs, I can't see through it because of the polygon, but I should be able to make my polygon hollow. Make the boundary a little thicker. Okay, so now I have the boundary and the points and the surface. At this point, I want to create the contours, and we can see that the raster masking kept the surface from going outside the boundary of the borders of this survey. So now, the other thing I'd like to do is every project you could set your workspace, and you can set the folder that you're working in to be your workspace. So that allows the default folder to be the folder you're working in, so you don't have to type that in very much. So I'm just going to use that. I'll copy and paste it into the next one. Okay. Now when I go to the surface tools and contour, I should be able to input my raster and output it right to that folder, and now I can just call this contour 1 or something, and set the interval as the book indicates at 1. So let that run and create the contours. The first few steps in doing this is open up the attribute table, add a field, and I want to add a field to indicate whether the contour lines are index contours or not. And I'll use the long integer, nope, use the text field for it. Set it to 2 or so. And now I need to select all the contours that are index contours. Well, with a contour interval of 1 foot, every 5 feet is going to be an index contour. So any multiple of 5. Well, what you can do is we can type in an expression to take a modulus of the contour divided by 5, which what a modulus does is take the remainder of the division between any value of any feature in the fields, in the contour field, which is the elevation, and divide it by 5 and take the remainder. So if it's divisible by 5, the remainder would be 0. So I would just take the mod of the contour divided by 5 and make that equal to 0. And apply it. And so now I can look through and I can see that all those, that just chose all the contours. And I'll just set those to a yes or a Y. And then I can switch the selection. And not that this is totally necessary, but I can set those to a no or an N, just to be complete about it. Okay, now I can clear the selection. And what that allows me to do is symbolize these contour lines separately from each other, the index versus the non-index values. So the index contours should be thick and dark. And intermediate contour lines should be 0.7 millimeters and maybe a dark gray. And that sets it back a little bit more. That looks good. I'm going to turn off the surface. All I need to do is label them the same way we would label them. I'll show you that real quick. So under labels, we want to label them based on the contour. We don't want to label them all the same way. We want to define a class of them. And again, where the index was equal to a yes. So it'll only label the index ones with the contour label. I only want to place them on the line, and I only want to use a background mask to give the appearance of cutting the line that it's on. So I'll set it to a mask, a little halo. And so now I can see those the index contour lines being labeled. The rest of this map is going to be generated from setting up your map document and labeling the points. I'll go ahead and label the points with an expression to show the point number and its elevation, which would be useful. So I'm going to put it on a new line, so VB new line, and the elevation with a foot tick. I'll verify that. It looks like I have a character term there, and that looks good. I also might want to make the label at 7.2, which is 1/10 of an inch, as well as making it left justified. Oops, forgot to label them. There they are. Now I can see that some of the labels are interfering with the boundary or with another contour line. So I might want to convert the labels to annotation. So I could do that in the map and just on those points. And with the black arrow tool, what I call, or the element selection tool, I can reposition these points to a better location so that they're more readable. Looks like all the rest are probably okay. So go to layout view, add your marginalia. I might suggest a landscape view for this one, and pick a good scale and turn it in.